Hey guys, and welcome back to a video we didn't want to make, as we hope that by this time, well, the video goes up, we will be celebrating after a packed Nintendo Direct full of new reveals of Nintendo's 2020 games. Instead, we're sitting here without a Nintendo Direct, and what's worse, as you may have guessed by the title, we now might face a situation where we don't have a Nintendo Direct for nearly half a year, from September to March. So in this video we're going over if we will end up without a Nintendo Direct this month and what it means for the Nintendo community right now. However, before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future content. Less than 12,000 to go to 250,000 subscribers, so let's get there as soon as possible. Now then, let's get straight to the point. We're deep into February, and despite this being the longest February in 4 years, the wait for the first Nintendo Direct in this decade has been long. Especially long since we have pretty much been hungry for a new Direct since the Game Awards, as February will be over soon and we've got a big title coming next month. Animal Crossing New Horizons. This is the biggest game on the Switch so far in 2020, in part because it is the only Nintendo game confirmed for the Switch this year. In other words, a Nintendo Direct before March would have been the perfect opportunity for Nintendo to reveal more about the game and generate some hype. Maybe not in the way that Smash does, but in the way Animal Crossing can. In other words, with extended gameplay, announcement of new features, and a little new details that actually means a lot to the fans.
True, they could announce one in the beginning of March, but that is cutting it a little bit close to release, don't you think? At that point, we'd rather not have any trailers or info dumps and rather go as blind as we currently are into the game. Still, with all of the news about this pseudo cloud saving system they've created exclusively for this game, a Nintendo Direct would serve as a much needed presentation to clarify the details on just how all of that is going to work. After all, it is unprecedented and likely the result of fan backlash such as the petition we promoted on the issue. Animal Crossing aside, we also need to consider something else here. As Comrade mentioned, we haven't had a Nintendo Direct, not a Pokemon Direct, since September. Yes, that's right, September. Nearly half a year of, well, nothing. It's a real shame since Directs are always great fun and keep fans up to date with just what Nintendo's doing. Plus, we occasionally get some totally unexpected reveals being made too, even to the point of downright trolling with the New Horizons announcement barely fitting into Isabelle being included into Smash. Well played, Nintendo, well played. Now, of course Nintendo isn't by any means obligated to make Directs, however the absence of them is definitely felt all across the board. Perhaps they genuinely have nothing to announce, who knows. Even so, nearly half a year later with no Directs, no reveals at the Game Awards could be quite telling. Are they biding their time? Or perhaps even planning a sort of mega Direct? That's the hope, we suppose. Although there is something that we haven't mentioned yet, we have had no first-party Nintendo reveals at the 2019 Game Awards. This stings particularly, as Jeff, no longer at E3 Keighley, the show's creator and host, had this to say before the event. We have a bunch of brand new games being announced at the show. I think there are around 10 new games/projects being revealed, if you want to count the things no one has heard about yet.
As usual, we Nintendo fans probably set our hopes a bit too high. BreathoftheWild too high. Regardless, having nothing to announce at such a big event, that is pretty telling in and of itself. However, let us not forget, we're getting no new Switch models this year either. Just what could Nintendo's plan be here? Possibly no Nintendo Direct in the first 2 months of the year, nothing to say at the TGA, and no new hardware revisions. They had better have something seriously big to reveal soon, or fears of another drought could be arising. The Switch does best when it's clicking on all cylinders. A consistent stream of new projects and games alike. The potential is certainly there too. Another look into Breath of the Wild 2, some new reveals of Nintendo games will more than suffice. Just something to keep us from starving here, which isn't unreasonable to ask. In many ways, we have been kept in the dark in regards to new Nintendo titles since E3, when the last big new Nintendo games were revealed. In other words, the foundations are already there, just waiting for Nintendo to come along and bring them forth to the light. A Switch Pro, for instance, would have been a pro gamer move. And there are plenty of things we would like to see in such a model: better durability, a fix for Joy-Con drift, a high resolution display, better frame rate at high resolutions, all of that, you know, the basic stuff you would expect from an upgrade. So to not have anything? Even what the industry itself predicted for Nintendo, it all feels a bit empty right now, both on the hardware and software front. Oh, and that isn't even mentioning that we have 2 new consoles coming this year from Nintendo's competitors, Sony and Microsoft. Leo, if you would please explain.
Yeah, it's not looking too good so far this year when it comes to new Nintendo games after New Horizons. Also, recently the E3 2020 exhibitors list was leaked. However, for the first time, Nintendo was nowhere to be found. Yep, on top of everything we've just mentioned, no revised hardware, no announcement hosted by Nintendo at the VGAs, no direct for nearly half a year, and now this? Luckily for all of us, it was quickly cleared up that Nintendo will indeed be present at this year's E3, as anything else would have just been a massive blow for the entire event. However, it's Nintendo we're talking about here, one of the big three, and no matter what, people have expectations tied to the company. That's just how it is. Then again, at this point, Nintendo moving away from E3 wouldn't have been the biggest surprise, as Nintendo has soon for a decade had no E3 press conferences and limited the number of live presentations, the latest being the Nintendo Switch presentation set in Tokyo Big Sight in January 2017. The concept of the Nintendo Direct itself is a literal testament to this new mindset that they have. Nintendo wants to be in control and will not allow anything up to a risky live performance where things can go wrong, especially with Nintendo, a conservative 125-year-old Japanese corporation that has few key developers who speak English and are completely dependent on interpretation. The reality is that Nintendo Directs are simpler, as you can have a pre-recorded English narrator speaking over Koizumi, Takahashi, Miyamoto, Sakurai, or Aonuma. Convenience and elimination of live failures were key to Nintendo's decision of no longer broadcasting live press conferences. Over time, this might have been Nintendo's greatest asset at E3, as we got a Robot Chicken Nintendo presentation in 2014, The Muppets in 2015, Breath of the Wild in 2016, and so on. No doubt Nintendo set a new standard for interactive presentation outside of E3, and Sony and Microsoft follow thereafter. Want examples? Here you go. Sony is now absent for the second year straight and will be revealing the PS5 in their own event, while Microsoft has their own E3 event and presence next to E3 in the fittingly titled Microsoft Theater. No wonder why some are theorizing that Nintendo could bring back their own event, Space World in Japan. For those of you who are too young or not aware, this was Nintendo's own video game trade show that was hosted from 1989 to 2001. It was known as the place that the company would reveal their new consoles and handhelds alike, much like the Nintendo Switch presentation in 2017. This was huge back in the day, and to see a return in the modern era, that would actually be pretty cool now that we think about it. Although again, this is all theory and conjecture.
Still, we have to wonder what is going on at Nintendo right now. Are they really going to ditch February for a Direct? Or will they sneak it into the later part of the month right prior to PAX East, or possibly even wait until March? Predicting Nintendo is like predicting the weather. Some patterns should be there, but you never really know until it's here. As we mentioned in the beginning, this Direct was primed for Animal Crossing New Horizons. The game has a little bit of information out, sure, but the timing now in February is perfect for that little bit extra prior to release on March 20th. After all, Nintendo did a complete 180 with the cloud save controversy surrounding the title recently. That's worth explaining, right? We even got confirmation that the game is going to be compatible with the Nintendo Switch Online app. Why not elaborate on that? Will there be voice chat? Maybe even some exclusive items like what they did for Splatoon 2. With a game as big and intricate as Animal Crossing, we feel a Direct could really do it some justice right here. However, let's say for the sake of argument that there truly is no Direct in February, even before PAX East. Well, as it so happens, there may be, since it could actually happen, and we have an indication, though I wouldn't keep my hopes up just because of this information. The best hope we have so far for Nintendo Direct in February is that Nintendo's booth at PAX East is twice as large as it was in 2018 and 2019. That should be an indication that Nintendo might be hiding some secrets from us that they will reveal soon enough. The truth behind Nintendo's plans and the reason for the soon-to-be longest Direct drought ever, only the company knows the answer to that one, I'm afraid.
Still, as of the day we uploaded this video, Friday, February 14th, we have not had a Nintendo Direct for 163 days. If we have no Directs prior to the end of the month, then this will be the longest Nintendo Direct drought in the history of Nintendo. Let that sink in. The longest Direct drought ever. Yes, even longer than in the Wii U Dark Ages. Then again, there might be a reason behind this. Say like Odyssey 2080 suggested to us on Twitter that Nintendo could host a Nintendo Direct on March 3rd. This would be to celebrate the 3rd anniversary of the launch of the Nintendo Switch, which would be quite fitting, especially since it's also the day of the 3rd anniversary of the launch of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As a channel that has a lot of emphasis on Zelda, we wouldn't be doing our duty if we didn't mention what this means for Breath of the Wild 2. which is arguably the most anticipated game for the Switch, depending on your preferences of course, since March 3rd will be the perfect day to show more of the game. At the same time, we need to highlight that this direct is crucial for us who want to play Breath of the Wild 2 on our Switches in 2020 also. We don't want to scare anyone, but if we don't see Zelda, then it is more than likely that Breath of the Wild 2 will not be coming out this year. We've got to be realistic about this. It also wouldn't surprise us if Nintendo has a different system seller to reveal in this direct and launch later this year. For instance, Super Mario Odyssey 2, which would be perfect to reveal in a Nintendo Direct on Mario Day, March 10th.
Now of course, nobody knows for sure, but the Zelda instincts are really pointing us in one direction. The game won't be coming out this year. If we are wrong, then we will totally be the first and happiest to admit that we were in error here. However, the hopes of this title releasing in 2020 is something you shouldn't bet your money on. It's a big project, requiring a lot of resources and time. We don't even have anything beyond a basic teaser yet, so there's that. That is pretty telling of where the game is right now in the development cycle. So the question is now, is there any hope for a Nintendo Direct in February and prevention of a Nintendo drought in 2020 similar to the ones we faced during the Wii and Wii U eras? We believe so, and until then, we will wait patiently for the Direct that will change everything when it comes to Nintendo titles in 2020, hopefully. Anyways, I think we've gone on long enough for this time being. Let's wrap this up and hope we get some good news soon, and thanks for watching everyone. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe and hit that notification bell for all notifications to never miss when we make any new content. Less than 12,000 subscribers to go to 250,000. Additionally, if you want to support us even further, why not hit that join button or become a Patreon at patreon.com/commonrealm and join the many others who make our channel possible. Anyways, we'll see you all next time on Commonwealth Realm or in one of these two awesome videos.